Welcome to the Officeweb Commission Reporting webinar with myself, Joe Prince, and Emma Jackson. This session is going to be probably about 30 minutes long, but obviously we will take questions as we go at the end and go over anything that you need to hear again. As usual, I need to just check that everything is working okay, the system's working and you can hear me. So if you could just put your hands up to confirm that you can hear me okay, that would be really good. That's perfect, everyone can hear me. And also, just to confirm that you can currently see my screen, which says, welcome to the webinar, Officeweb Commission Reporting. Just put your hands back up again. Excellent, perfect. So this session is about Officeweb reporting. So we've had a lot of great feedback. I say great, I mean we've had feedback that there's a need for more training in this area and a bit more specifics. And as importantly, explaining to you or showing you the reports that are most like or consistent with what you would have seen on TP. So for example, where you would have seen the payment summary in TP, what's the equivalent report in Officeweb, how do you get it into Excel and those types of things. So we need to give you a bit more guidance in that. So this webinar and the other sessions are to do that, and there are additional how-to guides that we've been working on, that Emma Jackson and the team have been working on to give you a more sort of focused help on obtaining those reports that you need. Okay, so without further ado, we are going to I'm going to hand over to Emma very shortly. So we're not in the same building, so this might work, it might not. We'll just have to wait and see. I'm going to hand over to Emma, both the controls and the audio, and then she'll take over and give you a demonstration of the systems and where the reports are and what you can do with them. And then we'll take questions at the end. So I'm just going to hand over to Emma now, and then we will get going. So Emma, can you hear me?
I can, yep.
Okay, so off you go. Over to you, Emma.
Hi everyone, my name is Emma, I work in the Intrinsic IT team, so I'm here today to hopefully show you some of the Officeweb reports that you're probably most interested in. So hopefully you can all see my screen. I'm logged into Officeweb at the moment. Now if you're not aware, you can get into Officeweb a couple of ways. The first is through the gateway. There is a link on your desktop for the gateway called Commission Fee Administration. It's the green link on the left hand side. So if you click on that, it will launch you straight into Officeweb, which you're viewing now. The second way is as long as you've got Gateway installed, you will see a link on your desktop for Officeweb browser. So either way, you can get into the Officeweb, and this is the first screen you'll come to when you log in. Now, on the left-hand side, you'll see an option for reports. So if I just select that, and this will bring you into the reporting area. Now, on the left-hand side, you've got report categories. And on the right-hand side, you've got a list of reports there. So if you click on the different categories on the left, the different reports will display depending on what reports are in that particular folder. Now, I'm going to concentrate on the PS Firm Accounts folder today. I'll go over a couple of the other reports in brief later on, but these are the ones we're going to be looking at primarily. So the first one I want to look at is the Current Outstanding Payments report. So I'm just going to select that there. And what you'll notice is that quite a lot of these reports, there is a report description at the bottom of the screen. So if you forget what a particular report does, just check here and it will give you a brief summary of exactly what it's trying to do. So this report basically tells you what payments are being processed today. So at any point during the day you can come in, run this report, and it will show you what has been matched so far. If you run it a bit later on in the day, then hopefully we would have matched some more money for you, and you'll be able to see that on your report. So if you're expecting a particular payment, this is a good way of seeing whether we've matched it or not. So once you've selected the report, at the bottom of the screen there's a Run Report option. So if you select that, and then you can just hit OK, the system will go off and run that report for you. And what I'm going to do is just refer to a report that I created earlier. Now this is the Current Outstanding Payments report. And as you can see, it lists policies or transactions that we've matched for you today. So I'll just run through the column headings just so you're aware of what each one is. So the segment reference, this is a unique identifier that we hold in Officeweb for that particular policy, and it's probably a bit similar to the P reference that you might have had in True Potential. So it's a unique number, and if you have any queries about a particular policy record, if you refer to that segment reference and quote that when you're contacting your support team, they'll be able to locate that quickly. You've got the client name here, the policy number that we've got on the records, the provider, the product, and the payment amount. So this is the amount that's physically going to be paid to you. So as I said, at any point during the day you can come in here and have a look to see what payments you've got. Now the report naturally splits into different sections. You've got a section for initial commission, a section for renewal commission, and if you scroll through the report, you've got another section there for advisor charges. So that's the current outstanding payments report. If we go back to Officeweb, so just to let you know, I ran this report yesterday in anticipation of a payment run occurring, and a payment run happened this morning. So now, if you need to know the detail of what's happened in that payment run, the best place to have a look is the Business Process Whole of Market report. Now, this shows you a detailed breakdown of the transactions in the date range that you select when you run the report. So generally, for Positive Solutions, there's one payment per day, and it will list all of the policies that we've paid during that day. This is a bit like the payment summary report that you might have had in True Potential. When you choose to run the report by, again, clicking on the Run Report option at the bottom, the selection criteria will naturally select today's date as the start and end date. So if you need to know what's been paid today, you just leave that date range there. But optionally, you can choose different start dates and end dates. So I'm just going to pick an older start date in here, and I'm going to leave the end date as today. Something else you might be interested in, if you want to know or just find policies that have paid, including an introducer that you work with, you can choose the introducer name in this drop-down. But in this example, I'm just going to leave that blank, and I'm going to hit OK on that. And the system will go off and run your report for you. Again, I'm going to refer to a report I created earlier. So this is the Business Process Whole of Market report, and you might notice that I've exported this report to a PDF. So if you ever want to print a report, and I'll show you about exporting in a minute, it's best to export it to PDF, and that's the best way of printing it. So if you do that, this is what it will look like on your screen, and then you can save it and print it from here. Now, as you'll see, there's lots of information on this report, so I'll just quickly go through each of the terms there. So the date, this is the date that we've processed the payment. So as you can see, this has got today's date on there, and these are all the payments that were processed today. It's probably worth saying that although we've processed these payments today for you, I think generally you get your payment approximately 2 days later from the day that we pay it, and we pay it by back, so you should get that into your account 2 days later. So you've got the date there, the firm name, that's going to be the name of your firm, and generally you're going to have the advisor name in that column. Again, you've got the segment reference on here. Close that down. You've got the segment reference on here, which is that unique identifier. You've got the client name, the policy number, the provider, the product, the phase, and the phase is the type of money that we've received. So the top 4 in that row there, that's initial commission that we've received. Now the gross column here, this is the amount that we've received in from the product provider prior to any retentions being removed. The retained column is the amount that Positive Solutions have retained from you. And the AR column, that's generally the gross minus the retained and the amount that's payable to you. Now in most instances, the advisor column will be 0. This is generally if you've got more than one advisor in your firm. And you can see an introducer column on there as well. So if there's anything that's payable or due to the introducer for that particular plan, that will show the figure in there as well. So this report just lists all of the policies down here. And at the end of all the transactions, you'll see some subtotals and a total that's due for you. So in this column here, this is the total for this AR. This is a test AR Nicola Loose. That's due for the firm is £543.51. And what you also get here on the left-hand side is, again, just some totals there, just adding up all of the different types of money that we've accounted for you. Now, this report is very useful. Apologies for that, I'll just clear that down. This report is very useful, and as I said earlier, you can export this report into Excel or PDF. So this is the report I ran a few moments ago. So this is a live report, and this is how you will see your reports when you run them. At the top, you've got a taskbar here, and in the top left-hand corner, you've got an option to export that report. So you'll get a new window pop up, and the most common things you're selecting here is PDF if you want to print that report or save it to your computer. But if you want to do a bit of manipulation, if you choose the Microsoft Excel Data Only option, that's what I'm going to choose now, and hit the Export button, what that does is that enables you to open that report up in Excel. So you can have a little play around with the data. Now, I've spoken to a few of the Positive Solutions guys, and I know some of you like to be able to report on provider. So if we have a look at that report in the Excel format, this is basically all of the transactions that we saw in the report. So what I'm going to do is just quickly show you a way of analysing that by provider. I'm just going to select a row here, and I'm going to choose a filter option, just so it puts a little arrow at the top of each of these columns. And what this does is it allows me to be a bit more specific about what data I want to see. So I'm just going to choose one of the providers here. I'm going to choose Friends Life this time. And what that will do is over the date range that you run that report, it will show you all of the transactions for Friends Life. Now, column L, this is the amount that's being paid to your firm. So you can do it a couple of ways. You can highlight all of the amounts in that column, and it will show you the sum right at the bottom here, £1,063.90, or you can create a sum on your Excel and just add up all the values in that column. If you're not too hot with Excel, don't worry too much. We'll be able to support you on that. Just contact your local support, your AST or your field coach, and they'll be able to help you with the Excel. But you can do many things on here. So if you just wanted to run it for initial commission or renewal commission, or you wanted to be narrow it down as much of the product, again, that's one of the data items that you can filter on. I'll just close that down. If I go back to Officeweb. Okay, so we've had a look at the detail in that business process report, but if you just need to know exactly what's been paid to you, the firm account summary report is the best place to come to. So this is the report that you would run to know what's been paid into your bank account today or for any historical period of time. You can also go in here to have a look at the account balance of your Officeweb account or your reserve account balance. You can get that all off of the same report. This report will also show you any deductions that have been made to your account, any charges and so like. So if I run this report, again, you just hit Run Report at the bottom of the screen, and you need to put a date range in here. So I'm just going to run this for today's date. A little tip, if you just want today's date, you can just enter the letter T, and if you press the Tab key, it will put today's date in there for you. I'm just going to hit OK. And again, I'm going to refer to one I did earlier. So this is the firm summary of accounts. As I said, it does look a bit like a bank statement. You've got money coming in and money coming out. So if we just work through this report, just so I can explain it in a little bit more detail. So the brought forward balance shows here is 0. Now, if you had an auto payment yesterday, you would generally always start with a brought forward balance of 0. And if we work down the list here, we can see that we've had a laptop charge of £15, and then we can see some credits going into our account. So this is basically a summary of that detail I showed you earlier on the business process report. So we've got some advisor charges of £371.67, some commission of £165.34, some renewals of £6.50. We've got a transfer into the reserve account of £4.96 in this scenario. So I understand a lot of you use your reserve account, so the system will automatically calculate an amount based on any indemnity commission that you put on, and it will create that for you and automatically transfer the money. Now, based on the charges and the credits that have been put into your account, the system has worked out an auto payment of £523.55. So this is the amount that will go into your bank account. So just look for the auto payment, and that should match the actual figure on your bank statement. Now, what you've got here on the right-hand side is the reserve account balance. So we started with a brought forward of £1,647.96, and as we saw earlier, we've had £4.96 transfer into there, so this is now our new balance of our reserve account, the £1,652.92. So this is a really good way of seeing any credits, any debits that's gone into your account, and just to give you a current position of exactly what's going on. Okay, so if I just go back to Officeweb. Now the last report in this folder is the Introducer Business Report. Now if you ever need to know what has been paid to your introducers, or if your introducers query with you whether we've made any payments to them, then this is a good way to go and have a look. Now, it's worth bearing in mind your introducers won't have any access to the Officeweb MI, so they may ask you to run reports on their behalf, and this is where you would come to do that. So again, you just select the report and hit Run Report at the bottom. And if you've got more than one introducer, you can be quite specific and just pick the one you want, or again, you can leave it blank. You just need to enter the start dates and end dates into the dialogues. So I'm just going to put that date range in and hit OK. Now I don't have any data on this report, but I can show you what it looks like. So these are the headers that you would get on the Introducer Business Report. So again, you've got the SEGRESS there, that unique identifier, the provider name, the client name, the advisor name, that's going to be you in most instances, the policy number, the status of the policy, so whether it's on risk or pipeline or lapsed, the gross commission amount, so this would be the amount that we've received from the provider, excluding the Positive Solutions retention. Just ignore the split column, that's generally used if there's more than one advisor within a firm. The net commission amount will show you the amount that's actually been payable to you. The pay away is the introducer amount, and the paid date is the date that we've actually transferred it on. So your introducers are going to be interested in the pay away amount and the paid date that they received that. So hopefully that's clearer for you. So I'm just going to go back to Officeweb. Now that's all of the reports in that folder, but I do want to show you another report which is more client specific. So if you want to know for a particular client whether you've received all of the income that you were expecting, or you just like to track their payments over a period of time, what you can do is run a report that's specific for a client. So I'm just going to enter my client details in here. I'm going to do a search for them. And here's my client. So once the system's found it, you can just select their name and head to the reports area again on the left-hand side. And what you'll notice in the categories is there's a new folder in there called Client WOM. So if I select that, you'll see some new reports in here. So you've got a client policy report, which basically lists all of the policies that that client has. You've got a client statement, which shows any outstanding fees for that client. And you've also got the policy payment history report. And if I select that and hit Run Report, what I have is the option to run this report for one policy in particular. So this is a list of their policies, or I can run it for all of the client's policies. So I'm just going to leave that blank because I want it to run for all of their policies, and I'm just going to hit OK. And the system will go off and create this report for us. And here it is. I'll just make that a bit smaller so you can all see that. Okay, so the name of the client at the top, Natalie Ruttle, and this is the unique identifier for that client. So this is one of her policies here. So it's a Friends Life critical illness and life cover. And you can see for this particular policy, we've received 3 amounts of money over a period of time, starting from the 7th of July, we received some initial commission. The 11th of July, we received some initial, and today we've processed some renewal commission. And what you'll see here is the commission received is again the gross amount that's been received by Positive Solutions. The COM retained is the amount that's been retained by Positive Solutions. The AR COM paid is the amount paid to you. And if you have any splits with any other parties, that amount, their amounts will be showing in the referral commission and the introducer paid commission fields. It's worth noting as well, if you've got any direct charges with your client, they will also be listed in here. I think the provider name is Positive Solutions Client Direct Charge. So you will see again any money that we've received from your client in this particular report. Okay, so if I just go back to Officeweb, I'll just let you know about a couple of the other reports that we've got in here. Now in the Firm New Business Growth folder, there's a Firm New Business report, and what this is doing is this is showing you any written business. So the date that you create the policy record on Officeweb is the date that it will appear on this report. It will show again the gross amount that's expected and the amount that's payable to you. So it's a good way to track your written business. Again, you can be quite specific on this report. So if I just show you the report dialog by hitting Run Report, you've got a lot of information here that you can filter down on. So you can, again, like I said, be quite specific. So if you want to know over a period of time how much business you've written for a certain provider, you can come in here, choose a provider name and just select that, and it will just return the written business for that provider alone. If you want to do it by product types, you want to know how many mortgages you've done, how many investments that you've done, again, you can subtotal the report like that. So what I'd suggest is have a play with this report. It's got a lot of good information on it, and like all of the reports in Officeweb, you can export them and manipulate them in Excel if they don't come out quite the way that you want them to on the report. One of the other reports that you've got in here in the AR admin folder is the AR issued business report, and basically this will show you anything, all the policies that have gone on risk between the start date and end date that you enter. So again, it's a good way of having a look to see what policies have gone on risk. You've also got in this folder the AR lapsed business report, and this will show you any clawbacks that have been processed over the date range again that you select. So I hope that's given you a brief overview of the different reports that we've got in Officeweb, but like I said, there are quite a few in there. I'd recommend you go in and have a look and try playing around with them. But again, if you've got any questions about those, Joe, has anybody else any questions about those reports?